Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Tuesday, March 24th. And we're almost out of March. Freaking March is running out quickly. We are looking at the market back in a holding pattern after yesterday's kind of craziness. So initial reaction from yesterday's news was as massively running high, popping this to the upside. And since then, it's been coming back down again a little bit. It's just as usual, the market overreacts and they have to correct, and it goes back and forth a bit. But so far, we're still to the downside, but we are not quite as bad as heading lower as we were before. We'll see if the afternoon and going into the close was started look a little bit gnarly, start heading a little bit to the downside. So we'll see. I mean, this is going to be the big news, I guess, for the week. What happens with that? What happened with those negotiations in the Middle East? And hopefully that wraps up the freaking Middle East issues for a while, right? This thing's been going on for freaking ever. But anyway, so news this morning. We have at 8:30 we get productivity and costs. At 9:45 we get PMI composite. 10 o'clock we get Richmond Fed manufacturing, and that's about it. So not a whole lot of news. It could be some reactions to it. Overall, I would just start off range bound. I would probably keep it biased to the downside, given that we haven't seen a straight shot to the upside, given the news. Yesterday's reaction was a reaction, pulled back. We are kind of back down in this lower distribution, the 66.15s, right in that support area, building value right now. So I would just say, fine, okay, we're starting off range bound, but we're going to keep it biased to the downside, given that where they are right now, that they haven't been holding above this area of support. They're kind of right at it. So we still have a shot at trading up from here, but I'm just going to keep that bias to the downside instead. I will favor the short side until I see some real strength building. So we're looking to sell strength, 66.35s, 66.55s, the 70s, 85s, 95s up to the 6,700. 6,700 will be coming right up here to this resistance area. Now, if they get up above the 66, I would say the London high, the 66.55s, I would probably go back, take off the short bias, and just stay range bound. Then we're between these areas of support resistance. But if they can't do that, as I said, I'm just going to keep slight bias to the downside and see if they want to try to take this lower. I mean, the market seems to be wanting to run down here and test support. It's been slowly grinding lower. Hasn't been able to get some traction and really keep it. So hence the bias to the downside. If I'd seen the follow through on the upside yesterday, more closing towards the highs and that kind of dynamic, I would probably be a little bit more optimistic about this trading higher. But right now, and not so much. Not so much. I mean, thinking that as the initial reaction fades, the market's going to start getting back towards the lows, start pushing the lows again, and we'll see if they're going to be successful in that or not. But we only need a little bit more positive news for them to be able to turn it and really start heading higher. And if we get some real positive news on oil, and then I think the market takes off again. It's going to be the sentiments change overnight, like on a 90-degree angle, and then 180-degree angle, and then we are right back heading higher again. But right now, it's uncertainty leaning on the market. So looking to sell strength against the 66.35s, the 55s, those are the two first areas. Above the 55s, we're taking off the short bias, but still looking for shorts against the 75s, the 85s, 95s, up to the 67.05s for rotations back down again. And looking to buy weakness against the 66.15s, the 6600s, down to that mode at 65, 65.95, and then mode here from the overnight. But this is pretty much the lowest support there. So then below that 6600s, then we're going to be heading lower again, I think. So we'll see which side they're going to go on. The overnight was all the way down into 65.85 or 65.80s. So they were down here a bit in this probing in this lower range, but so far they've been able to get past that and trade back up again. So the only positive I see in this right now is that the London session actually traded higher, and so there could be some room for a little bit of strength to building. But right now I'm looking to sell against that strength up to that 55 level, and we'll see how it's going to go. So there we have it. So we get started on the ES at least for now. On the Nasdaq. Kind of similar story. Initial reaction, back down 50% retracement, but then look at Nasdaq. How far they were really coming apart before that news kicked in. So Nasdaq got a lifeline for sure. And right now we're looking at the same kind of dynamic. It retraced about 50% of the move. Right now, I would favor the short side if anything. But starting off range band, let's see if they can take out some of the lows here. The support area to really pay attention is going to be the 140, the 160 to 180. This is 200s is support area right here, and that corresponds if you see these lows here. So you're looking to buy against these 315s, the 260s down to the 200s for rotations up. A little bit of cautions on those since we have a slight bias to the downside. If you get early strengths, I would favor getting short against. Well, 360 is pretty aggressive, but the 420s, the 500s here for rotations back down again. Above the 500s, that takes us above. Yeah, that takes us up here, well above this area of support. Resistance right now, we're trading right in it. If you can get it to stay up in this upper area, then we have it above the 360, 370 congestion area. You can stay above it. We have at least a shot at trading back up again. But right now, it could go either way. So market in a holding pattern, reacting to news. And I would say that the bears are probably having the edge. So I would favor the short side right now. And as the the initial reaction or initial news reaction fades, chances are the bears are going to be taking more and more charge unless we get a piece of another good news, in which case we can be right back up again. So initially looking to buy against that the 300 to 320s, the 260s, down to the 200s for rotations up, and a bit of caution. I would favor getting short against the resistance. 360s is fairly aggressive. The better ones probably are at the 420s and the 500s here for rotations down. About 500, taking off that short bias, going back more range bound. Still looking for shorts against resistance. 560s, 600s, 650s, 690s, up to the 700s, 730s here. Above that 650s, I think we could be back in action. So that is this area here, these two areas, the 650s and the 680s, takes us above this area of resistance on the F1. If we can get it back up in this upper distribution, I think then we manage to turn this around. But right now we are right in that spot where we don't quite know. Structure is pointing us lower, so that's why we are starting with a slight bias to the downside. I would say more range bound trading, primarily range bound for the day. And that's, I'm not seeing a big elevator down day kind of thing, but you never know when you get a piece of news or a reaction which sets it off. So, so I'm thinking a grinding move to the downside, probably what we have in front of us, unless we get some positive news come in. And it depends on how the volatility kicks in. It looks to me like we have a decent tradable volatility at least, so it's not going to be as crazy I was yesterday. Yesterday I opted not to trade any of those. It's just too crazy. Right now volume is good. 400,000 in the minis, 600,000 in the micro micro ES, 600,000 on the micro Nasdaq. So fair amount of volume still though. On the bond side of things, we are pretty much in the range, but to the downside, you can see we're down below the 113s, and we are definitely in a spot where the yields are up, prices are down. We are down here testing the 111 soon. They were down here at the 111s in the overnight, yesterday. So far, we haven't really retraced a whole lot. They kind of bounced off that for first time to it, and now we are kind of consolidating a little bit. I'm looking for a retest of that 111. It's going to be 111.20s. So yeah, 20. This is 26s, so 111.26. And watch this lower area. They go down, they run it down to the 111s. I bet it could be pretty gnarly. So yields coming up quite a bit at that point. But that's where we are. So pulling that together, you can see from our attractor area around 115, pretty good shots down here on that news. And we are just kind of down in the rut there. So we'll see. That was a big sell-off day we had on Friday. That's just crazy sell-off day. And you get on the right side of the day like that, you'll be happy. But it's, you know, they're so few and far between. It's hard to get them. Yesterday was reasonable trading on the bonds, pretty good range, and just had to be a little bit patient about where you engage it. But starting off range bound, I would favor the short trade on the bonds. Looking to sell strength with 113s, 1308s, 1310s for rotations down. It's kind of weird at the end here. It's really hard to see what these levels are. I'm sitting at the weird angle here, but yeah, hard to see that. So looking to sell strength up to that 113.14. Above the 13.14s, I would start thinking retracement trade. But initially, I'm looking for shorts against the 113s, 1308s, 1315, 16s for rotations down. Looking to buy against 1218s, 1210s down to 1126s. Bit of caution on that. There could be a spot here at 1204s at the tractor area. I can actually put that in there as this small little guy. I'll actually remember that right there. So one of these two could potentially hold. This one should be a tad higher. There you go. So the 12, 10, 12, 18, this little spot 1204, and then 12, 11, 26s. All with a bit of caution, since we are favoring a move, we are favoring the short side to get started. And we'll see how this whole thing shakes out. All right, back to the ES and the NASDAQ. And right now we are just twisting in the wind. So not going anywhere directionally a whole lot, just kind of twisting in the wind. So very tradable if it stays like this. Just going to be as fading edges today if it's going to be like this. But we got a little bit of news to get through. Productivity at 8:30, PMI composite at 9:45, and Richmond Fed at 10. And I don't think any of those is going to really make a big difference. We got a 2-year auction at 1. Not sure if that's going to be a big deal or not, but we'll see. Alrighty, guys, we'll wrap it there. So range bound bias, slight bias to the downside on the ES and the NASDAQ and the bonds. Let's see if we need to get some. They're going to be able to hold the line, or we're going to keep grinding this lower again. All right, guys, we'll wrap it there and see you back at 11:30 for the next update. So good trading, and I'll see you back then.